Hey everybody, I am back with great news, a praise report, some tips, and a ton of thank yous. First, let me start off by just thanking every single person that watched my video. I didn't post my video for sympathy or as a scare tactic. I simply did a video for myself only. I want to chronicleize how I feel after chemo, just how I feel on an everyday basis. And while I could write it down, I felt like putting it on a video was good because I could actually see the changes in my looks if that happens. I have on a wrap today, but I still have my hair. My hair is still hanging on. So I wanted to see how that went too, because I already told you if I start looking like a monkey with a wig on, you won't see me. You'll see words going across the screen. And plus, I want to do an awareness thing. I want to reach out to people that have a lot of questions about triple negative breast cancer, because I know when I was first diagnosed, I had a ton of questions. And this is a fairly new disease that's just now starting to get a lot of research, whereas before it was, we don't know too much about this disease, how it's spreading, if it is spreading, and basically how to treat it. Well, now they are going so hard on trying to find effective treatments for triple negative breast cancer and how to help patients out that are afflicted with this disease. So I'm going to give you a few tips and just give a few shout outs to some very important folks. So let me start out with giving my praise report. I had my first chemo session. Actually, I've already completed 2, but during my first chemo session, that was a pretty long day. I got there at 11 and didn't leave until 6. Only because during your first chemo session, you have to give lab work. Then you have to go and you have to sit with the oncologist, and she measures your lump or lumps again. She talks to you about the treatment plan, the side effects, whether or not what the process will be if your body responds to chemotherapy, which it should. And I know my oncologist, she just talked to me. You know, I love Dr. Carrie Anders. She's amazing at Chapel Hill, sweetheart, awesome woman. Bedside manner is just amazing. She's totally sweet. So a lot of that was spent talking and just what to expect during the chemotherapy while I'm there and after. After that, then you go up to infusion, and they call it that. They don't call it your chemotherapy treatment. They call it infusion. So if you hear infusion a lot, don't be alarmed. That's just the word that they use for chemotherapy. And you go there, and what they do is they have to, your cocktail is personal per se. They don't already have it made for you, so they have to, when you get there, prepare it for you. And that can take about 45 minutes to an hour because they have to put the request in, then it's prepared, then they bring it to you. In the meantime, while they are doing that, they give you a series of medicines. They gave me, because I had to take carboplatin and Taxol at the same time, they gave me Benadryl, Zofran, a steroid, and something else. Matter of fact, if you hold on, I can tell you exactly what they gave me for that day. They give you a series of medicines, of nausea medication and things that they feel will help it out. And it does help out a lot, especially the nausea medication, because while Taxol is pretty mild and won't too much get you down, carboplatin can cause nausea. So to rewind, as I'm talking with the oncologist, she measures my lump and she's like, wow, this is interesting. And I was like, well, what are you talking about, Dr. Anders? She was like, it looks like your lump has actually shrunken some. And I'm starting to get giddy and real excited because, you know, she would definitely know because she measured it the last time when I was in here. So for her to say that, it's a definite. So she said, well, let me measure it again because you did have a biopsy and there was some swelling. So I had to tell her, no, I didn't get a biopsy in that particular breast. I got a biopsy in my right breast. The left breast, we didn't need to get one in because we were for certain that was malignant. So she said, oh yeah, you're right. So it wouldn't be that swelling went down because you were fine. So she measured it again, and in fact, it had already shrunk. And I told her that no, that wasn't interesting. That is the power of prayer. So I give all the glory and praise on the shrinking in that breast to prayer and prayer only. God is so good. He's a healer. As long as you do your due diligence and follow through, he will provide. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed. So I was so super excited about that. And even before I went that morning, I went with my prayer partner and her mother, and they prayed so hard over both the lump in my breast and the lump in my armpit. I just felt such a feeling of peace. It was awesome. So that's my praise report. I'm super duper excited. I want to share it with you. You can jig, shake, do whatever, but God is so good. And like I told you in the last report, I am already healed. The next thing is that I have a phobia of needles. I'm not for sure if I told you that in the last report, but I mean, my phobia is so bad to where when they start to, clean the area up and I start to smell the alcohol, I immediately start hyperventilating. That's just how big of a phobia I have. Well, my nurse navigator from Womack told my husband and I about some patches called Lidocaine Cream. And what you do is before you go, like an hour before you have your appointment, it's some cream. And we've already pretty much used this up. They give you a couple of them. But you only put about maybe half of it onto the actual port. And I have my Band-Aid on because they did the infusion chemotherapy today. Don't rub it in. Don't do anything. Just squeeze it onto the port. Half of it. Once you get done with that, you're going to take your little shield, sticky Band-Aid thing, put it on top of it. Like that. And just lay it on top of it. Take off the little adhesive little stuff here. Press it so that it's pressed to your skin. And just let it stay there until once you get to the hospital or your treatment facility. They're going to remove it. Clean your area really good. And you won't feel a thing. You won't feel it. Take it from somebody who has a needle phobia. You won't feel a thing. These are lifesavers. I mean, if you have a phobia of needles and you just can't deal with them, tell your doctor to put a prescription in for these. They work. The only downside to that is after it wears off at the end, you can feel her as she's pulling out the IV out of your port, but it's nowhere near as bad as if you've never had any medication. So I suggest getting these lidocaine patch cream. They're great. They're great. As you can see, I have my wrap on. I'm trying to learn how to do these and, get good with them. I'm not for sure if I'm going to do wigs. I'm not even for sure if I'm going to lose my hair, so I'm not claiming that at all. But I wore a little wrap today to try it out for the first time, and I think I did pretty good. See? So, yeah. I got to thinking, like I said, from my last post, you guys may have been looking at me sideways because I had not taken chemotherapy yet, and I was still in good spirits, and I'm still in good spirits. Attitude is everything. Make sure that your attitude, even when you're going, because the laws of attraction are real. I learned that from a dear friend of mine who's also my nail tech through her vision boards. Put it into the atmosphere. When I first went to my first chemotherapy session, I went in saying, this is not going to be a bad day. I'm not going to have any reactions to the medication. I am not going to feel awful when I leave. And everything that I said was going to happen, happened. When the oncologist nurse, the chemotherapy nurse, was giving me the medication, she said a lot of people have reaction to Taxol and carboplatin when they first take it. So we're going to go very, very slow, and it's going to take a lot longer because we need to make sure that if you do have a reaction, okay, we're going to treat you and basically just watch your response to this. She came back. She said, wow, I cannot believe you're one of very few patients that have not had a reaction. And I didn't. I was fine. I felt great. When it was time for me to leave, I felt really, really good. I didn't have a reaction at all. It went through perfectly. Even when I got home, I was really groggy. You know how, like, if you've ever had surgery and they have to put you under anesthesia, and once you're coming out of surgery, you feel just blah and weak. That's the only thing I felt. But the next day, I felt amazing. Didn't know at the time it was due to the steroids, but that's okay. Now, as days went by, I could tell that the chemotherapy was in me and working because I was starting to feel the effects. They weren't anything bad. I didn't vomit not one time. They gave me 3 nausea prescriptions. I take the Zofran because it does not cause me to be sleepy. So I made sure I take the Zofran in the morning when I wake up with some food, of course. I made the mistake, though, one day of forgetting my Zofran and went to work. And the nausea set on me so bad that it took a full day to recover. So my advice to you is make sure either you take your medication with you when you're going to work, or you take that before you leave the house, because once that nausea sets on you and it's gotten into your system and it's attacked your body for hours, it's so hard to get rid of. And it was extremely difficult to get the nausea off me. Like, I couldn't even eat anything. My appetite's pretty good. The smells are starting to hit me now. I can't really do fried foods, or it's just certain foods that just make me just bleh. But that's okay. I can still eat. I can still use metal silverware. So that's fine. I'm good with that. I'm doing pretty good, but now I'm craving watermelon, fruit, vegetables, and that's good. You want to do that. You want to stay away from the processed foods. Shop outside of the grocery aisles. And I learned this because I have 2 great people that are, I call them my nutritionists, because they are true examples of how food and how you change your dieting habits can affect your body and any type of illnesses that you have. So I get tips from them every single day, and they know who they are. I really appreciate them. I put turmeric in my smoothies. That's helped a lot. I have, I eat a lot of broccoli, cabbage, watermelon, pineapple, tomatoes. I just try to just eat a lot healthier. I drink a ton of water. That's key. Please, 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 when you're doing your chemotherapy, drink water to flush your system out. I cannot put enough emphasis on that. Flush that system out. Get that toxic cocktail out of you, because the more water you drink, you will feel a lot better. You will feel a lot better. My nurse navigator at Chapel Hill put me in a walking program, and they gave me, where's my book? A great book for first-time walkers. It's called Walk with Ease. I don't know if you've heard of this book, but if you can find it, go get it. Or if you are at your treatment center, they offer stuff like this, ask them about it. It is so great. It came with a Fitbit, yay! And it just monitors my walking, helps me out with that, because walking is good. You have to stay mobile. You have to stay just energized. Don't just lay down and let this eat you up, because if you don't get up and move around, it will take you under. It really will take you under. And I'm so serious. And I know it's hard. Lord knows I know it's hard. Some days you just don't feel like doing anything. Some days you don't want to get out and go to work or go walk or hang out with friends. But I'm going to tell you, before I started my chemotherapy, we had a gathering for the 4th of July. The best thing that could have ever happened. I hung out with friends and family. I danced all night. So when it was time for me to get my first chemo session, I was so ready. Before every chemotherapy session, I try to do something that I feel like is exciting to me. I go out and eat with my best friend or my family or somebody. I hung out with my sister and my nephew on Sunday. I try to get all the love that I can possibly get before the chemotherapy session, because cancer is a beast. And if you don't attack it like how it is trying to attack you, you will lose. Seriously. If you don't keep a positive attitude, you will lose. Seriously. You have to keep an optimistic attitude. You have to say, I am going to beat this. You have to stay on it. Another thing, this appraise report, I had a girlfriend of mine contact me, send me a text message and say that she got her first mammogram. That was so exciting to me, because we need to get mammograms. It's important. I mean, I've read stories of where women have gone for their annual and the doctor not found their lump, but they find their lump. Well, the doctor says, well, I don't find anything. Well, they say, okay, that's fine, but I feel something, so I want a mammogram. And they are referred to get a mammogram. And come to find out, it's cancer. Like I said in my last video, you know your body better than anybody else. You and you only. So what if they don't find it in the annual? If you feel something, you fight that. You tell them, no, I want a mammogram and put this in. Get me a mammogram. It's just too easy. Because a lot of times we go with what the doctor says because they have those credentials. Okay, well, you have credentials too. And those credentials are, I know my body. You know your body better than that doctor. So while they may say, yeah, I don't feel anything. I think you're, you're jumping the gun here. You're a little excited. There's not a history of it in your family. There wasn't a history of breast cancer in my family. I think the closest thing is that my grandmother's stepsister had breast cancer. That's not close. Not at all. My mother didn't have it. My aunt didn't have it. My grandmother didn't have it. Here it is. I have it. I'm the host. So again, go get checked out. I have to go every week for chemotherapy. I get Taxol every single week. And then every 3 weeks, I get Taxol and carboplatin. I'll do that for about, I have 12 weeks of that. And then once that's completed, then I start the Red Devil. Now, what I love about my oncologist nurse is she's like, we're going to get through one session first and then start the next. So while I was ready to ask her questions about, well, what's this Red Devil thing? Let's just focus on what you're dealing with now. So I have 12 sessions of Taxol and 4 sessions of Taxol and carboplatin. Then I will do the Red Devil every 2 weeks for 4 cycles. So I'm going to rock with it. And every time I go in there, I smile. I know my chemotherapy nurse by name. So when I speak to her, I say, good morning, Shay. Good morning, Amanda. I just go in there with an optimistic attitude because attitude is everything. I've given a few tips. Again, if you want to reach out to me, please feel free. You can reach me by email at larycemclaughlin@yahoo.com. That's Larycemclaughlin@yahoo.com. Or look me up on Facebook. I am here for you, and I'm going to beat this. And my testimony is going to be so amazing. So continue to please follow me. Stay blessed.